Alright, hello and welcome to today's video where we will be seeing the Ottoman Empire, but if it returned in the modern day. Now, obviously, it's not meant to do that, but it's a little fictional scenario. But the only thing that I also ask is if you can please like and subscribe because we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully we could get that fairly soon. But besides that, I think we can get right into this video. Now, obviously, with the return of the Ottoman Empire, it easily makes one of the biggest and strongest countries in the entire world a little scary. And obviously, we can also see that a lot of countries are basically non-existent. So what we're going to see is a little sweeping time. A lot of countries. For example, these guys. You thought they were going to live? No, no, no. They're going to go bye-bye. This, no more of this. Gone, 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 gone. Now, with this little sweeping, we can see that these guys, they've definitely become, I guess, slightly bigger with these little extra areas now falling over into Ottoman rule. But also what we're going to be seeing is just some smaller countries also just get picked off, like Georgia right here. Right now, they are very weak, and they're actually also about to be gone, with them getting absolutely steamrolled, because, with the power of the Ottomans right now, and with the lack of power from these guys, Georgia is, I think it's safe to say, it's cooked. And the thing is, what we can also see right here is these areas, which are basically just desert, the Ottomans are going to very quickly just go and invade, but obviously they're not going to take all the land because it's just desert. There's no need to take this random land. So instead, what they're actually going to do is they're going to quickly sweep through all these areas because basically no one living here. And instead, what is going to happen is that it will be turned into a puppet state. All three of these, they'll quickly and simply, they'll be combined into one singular big old puppet state down here. There we go. Since, again, basically no one living there. But the other obvious thing is that a lot of people, they're not going to be very happy that the Ottomans came back, especially the Balkans, but also countries like France, USA. You just got another rogue superpower because they are on an expansional conquest. As we see right here, where they attack Armenia and Azerbaijan, have no sign of slowing down, although where they just continue to absolutely sweep through innocent countries to where they are no more. And now, of course, a lot of countries, they're not too happy about this, so we also very quickly and expectedly are going to see a coalition against these guys. With some countries like Saudi Arabia, what's left of Iraq, Kuwait, actually Iran, because these guys, they got beef. And places like Ukraine, things like Romania, Croatia, Hungary, and these are the current members for now, but obviously some bigger ones might join later. So basically, with this little coalition, this drastically slows down on where they could go and expand until they see an area right over here. So basically, the front lines right here of obviously the Russia-Ukraine war, this is literally in 30 seconds, or this is like literally in 10 seconds done. Basically, we got these areas right here that Russia has taken so far. But now we have the Ottomans, and obviously, Russia's not happy. They lost these lands right here, as well as some in, obviously, Crimea, and I think some slight parts right over here. But, so, yeah, these guys not too happy. But with this, we see the Ottomans gladly join this war. They obviously get some extra land, but obviously most countries, they're not very happy with this. And with another superpower kind of attacking these guys, it's not going to be too good. And then obviously Russia finally pulls this thing together and is eventually able to finally get rid of their very long war, and they're able to get rid of the rest of Ukraine. And basically with this, we could just turn Russia back to white, and we see the Ottomans becoming that much bigger and going more into Europe, and Russia also becoming bigger, I guess you could also say. But with this, we see that they are not going to slow down when it comes to expansion, where we see them also declaring war on Sudan. They're quite unstable, so I don't know if that's going to be too helpful, because obviously the Ottoman troops, they're going to quickly capture all of this coast, and we see them eventually just very quickly getting all of these areas over here in a matter of weeks. So this front slowly continues to collapse until we even also see South Sudan right here also begin to kind of just go on this little attack where they get these small little, they're also not the best. They're quite also unstable. So they get this small little area, nothing insane. until the rest of the Ottoman Empire just very quickly overpowers the rest of this until they are no more. So basically, in reality, Sudan just gets slightly weakened right over here, with the Ottomans getting some lands over here, and Sudan getting a little bit in the south right there. What you see here is basically the Ottoman Empire, they're kind of chilling. They're looking like this. Basically, they just kept expanding, which obviously not good for a lot of countries. And it's also when you see that these guys, they aren't stopping. And that's when we realize some countries, they've had enough. Enough is enough. So, what we actually see right now is a declaration of war from all of the coalition on declaring war on the Ottoman Empire. So basically, all of the troops from what's left of Romania, Hungary, Croatia, from the north over here, and we also see a very quick invasion from Saudi Arabia, which is still very powerful, coming from these areas over here. A bit of Iraq helped, kind of. And it's also, I guess, mostly Iran, probably the strongest one, because these guys have been slightly weakened. Probably, I'm not 100% sure about that one. So basically, they can cut off this entire area, the Persian Gulf, right over here, until the front line begins to look like this, where they even cut them off from the Caspian Sea. This initial success is very, very good. They're like, okay, this is honestly better than we thought. There's even some cutting offs, and it just continues to go better and better, with these areas being almost fully taken, just like that. But obviously, Iraq, they're kind of shush kebabbed. So basically, what's gonna happen is these guys over here, they're gonna start to lose a land very, very quickly until they are basically just completely, they get wiped out on the floor extremely quickly, and they begin to even make some pushes into Saudi Arabia in some areas just like this. But also, we see that these guys get some areas back just like this to the Persian Gulf right over here and make their way in some of these areas, but also they see, oh, perfect timing. How about we just go down here, which is exactly what happens because this area, they kind of fumbled here. They didn't protect it that well, so now they could kind of go pretty deep into this area, and that's a bit of an issue. I think that's pretty evident. But they also are able to push these guys back a little more into these areas. But they can only get a couple, surprisingly, out of all the areas, they struggle the most back here in Europe, where they can only get a couple areas back like this, with stuff like this not honestly going too well. Because these guys, honestly, they're really trying. They're getting all of these lands, mostly because they're also really focusing in the Middle East right now. So that is another reason why we can see these guys probably having more success until we even see actually a spearhead cutting off this part of Ukraine, which completely falls over to the coalition, which they're like, oh, now that's not very good. So basically, we also see that these guys, they're definitely still struggling, but, you know, me. So basically, what we see is that eventually, these areas, they begin to slowly collapse more and more until eventually there's even a large push into Saudi Arabia right over here, where we even see these areas also keep getting, oh wait, no, even more of Iran. I know there's a lot of mountains here, but so these areas, they get caught all the way over here. And with this, they have to really send back a lot of their troops, which they were hoping for not to happen. But obviously, they still do have a full hold here in the Caspian Sea. They are not letting them get into that. But finally, in some areas, we can actually see that the Ottoman Empire, right here, then they can finally get back these areas, and they finally make their push over here, getting all the way into these areas right over here, making it all the way, even getting to Romania right here, completely cutting that off and cutting these parts into two, with I guess northern Serbia and Bosnia right over here, where we can see these guys trying a little more to maybe not die, but it's not going to go too well because apparently that's not going to work. But basically these areas, they're kind of shush kebab. Romania, they kind of collapse right there. And that also goes for Hungary. All these areas, they have to pull back all their troops to hopefully protect them because they were really able to send a lot more troops here because they realized, how about we just go one by one? We get rid of these guys little by little. And that's exactly what happens until no more. These guys, finito. Finito bendito. With these guys out of the war, we can also take a look at this. Because you know how that's going to go. These guys gone, and this also gone. And now, oh, look at this. I know, it's shocking they're getting pushed back. because the Ottoman Empire just has too much troops. So basically with this we see these guys pushing more and more until Iran realizes if they just surrender, they could probably still keep a large part of their land. So they surrender. It's not going to go too well, where they finally focus all their troops in this one single area, and we see the slow collapse of Saudi Arabia as well. So once it gets to around here, Saudi Arabia will also surrender. Now, with all their troops here and under their foothold, it's about to be a peace negotiation. At least that's what they thought, until Russia decides to finally join in the war. They were just kind of waiting for a good timing, and this was the good timing. Basically, all these Russian forces, with I guess also weakened Ottoman forces, they will just start stomping into most of these European areas and just completely flood through all of this, capturing all of Ukraine, and very quickly going into these Georgian areas, and I guess just Caucasus region. They will definitely have a lot of pushback, because this is where are some troops, with obviously Iran over here, because they will also definitely try to liberate Iran, because I mean, they were kind of just waiting for, because obviously they are kind of allies. They do have good relations, so they will make a pretty deep push in reliberating Iran, even though they surrender their people. They don't want that, so with the help of the Iranian people, they will be helped out there. And with this, the Ottomans realize we may be a little cooked. So with Russia constantly pushing into these areas, they see with a very weak Ottoman, I mean, I wouldn't say really weak, with a fairly weakened Ottoman with this coalition, and the Russians just absolutely pushing in, it's safe to say that these guys, they're going to struggle a little until we even see this looking like this. And obviously, this is going to incentivize some more countries to join in this war, like these guys, just like Morocco, Sudan, to get some of their land back, hopefully, and countries like Slovakia, basically these guys right here. So mostly some African nations, they decide they're going to try to join this war, and hopefully some more land, as well as Eritrea. So basically, with this little collective force seeing a weakened Ottoman Empire, so they take this chance 100% because they want to live. They don't want to get eaten by the Ottoman Empire, and they see that this is their best chance to destroy these guys, and they're correct about that. So basically, all these forces, they begin to go up into these areas right over here until the Ottomans realize, whoa, hold on. How about a peace deal? We severely apologize for what we have done, and we think that surrendering now will be a great idea. And to that, everyone agrees. Now, as we see in this little peace deal right here, the Ottoman Empire, crippled as ever. I mean, they're basically just Turkey now. So basically, they lost these areas right here. This, gone. Russia, looking more like the Soviet Union. Iran getting this little piece right here, and all the other countries being restored to their normal borders. So, with this, that is going to do it for today's video, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And again, I please do ask that you like and subscribe, because again, these are all pre-recorded, so sadly any ideas or suggestions I sadly cannot do. But again, that's all I have to say, so bye-bye.